It's a good evening to you and welcome to this special broadcast which is brought to you by Government Communication and Information System along with the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development and Correctional Services. Welcome to this special broadcast and as you know, you can call us on 0800 142 446 0800 142 446 and tonight we are talking something called the Guardians Fund. The Guardians Fund, we'll know more about it. Isingisi leso. If you paid your school fees, you'll definitely get to know through our special guest tonight, who is going to take us through this. It is the 5th season of Let's Talk Justice. It's a radio program brought to you by the two departments I told you about. And now, September marks the Public Service Month in our country and the auspices of the 2019 Public Service under the theme, Kauleza, taking public service to the people and as well as Batupili, we belong. So tonight we'll be discussing the Guardians Fund, which is administered by the Office of the Master of the High Court. We will get to know more. We once talked about the conveyancing. We once talked around, I don't know, that beneficiary thing. I forgot. I'll remember. But it's also under the Master of High Court. And you're also welcome to call us or even talk to us on social media. Facebook is the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. And Twitter is at DOJCD_ZA. Use all the capital letters. Now, tonight we're going to know about what the Guardians Fund is, and what is the main purpose of it, and briefly share the structure of the Guardians Fund, and also explain the procedure. That's paperwork where I say people have a phobia for literature, and we're busy concentrating on xenophobia, but we should be concentrating more on the fear of reading books. But anyway, welcome Tate Vuyani Lali. He is part of he's a deputy master. Let me just put it as in like the way the title says. He's Advocate Vuyani Lali. He is actually the deputy master in the Master of the High Court and based in Cape Town, but in South Africa. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for inviting us at the Master's office. It is indeed a pleasure. I'm Vuyani Lali, as you have said, from the Master of the High Court in Cape Town.
Thank you so
Unfortunately, let me say it in advance to the listeners that my Sotho is a bit limited.
Yeah.
So I will try my utmost best, but I can say at least Dubelani Bagaetsu. Thank you.
We're speaking South African in this program. So Ntate Lali is part of South Africa and he's an expert in South Africa. Normally Lennox would say government communications, hello, and he will say in Pretoria, Hatfield in South Africa. So let's just be South Africans and communicate as much as we can. The main point is to make sure that the Guardians Fund is well understood. Right, Ntate Lali?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, most of our people don't understand the Master's office as a whole. But I'll speak specifically about the Guardians Fund.
Yeah.
Because I believe that it is one of the most important sections in the Master's office because it deals with the most vulnerable. That is children and people who are incapable of managing their affairs.
Tata, in 2-3 sentences, let's just get back so that once we put things into perspective about the Guardians Fund, the Master's High Court, what it does and how relevant it is for our people.
The Master's office, it's where estates are reported. When somebody passes on from a family, you go to our office to report that estate. Normally, in terms of the Act, it says that it must be reported within 14 days. But we don't bother about the 14 days as long as the Act is reported. Because you might find that if you don't report an estate, because it deals with lots of things, for instance, transferring of properties and everything.
Yes.
So normally, our people will go to the Master's office when they need to be a property that needs to be transferred. Then they will be told that maybe by the bank or any institution go to the guardians fund or go to the master's office in order for you to have to be issued with a letter of authority or letter of executorship.
But Malume, an ordinary person knows just as long as I get a death certificate, I'm fine. What's unique about having to get to your office? Because once I get my death certificate, I can bury my person, I'm fine, and then we can start fighting around all the assets that are around. So give me that specific. Why should I consider the Guardians Fund office?
The Guardians Fund office, if you pass on, because there's also a will aspect of it.
Oh, yeah.
For instance, if you do in your will, you say that you leave money to your children. Normally, 99% of the time, when they make mention of leaving money to your children, it goes to the Guardians Fund. In fact, in South Africa, we've got 6 Guardians Fund offices.
Yes.
Although in each and every province, there's a master's office. What happens with those Guardians Fund, maybe to name them just a few,
Yes.
it's Pretoria, Bloemfontein, Kimberley, Pietermaritzburg, Cape Town,
Yes.
and Grahamstown. So, but in order for our people to access the Guardians Fund, for instance, you'll talk about people, communities that are from Limpopo, communities
Yes.
that are from Amtata, communities that are from Port Elizabeth. We normally say
Bloemfontein,
that
maybe.
Bloemfontein, yeah, there is an office in Bloemfontein.
Oh, yes.
But from the far areas, we would normally say that there was a bad decision, which says that each and every master of the High Court is a service point. So, which means then the task that we had embarked on was to go to each and every magistrate court to train staff in order for them to be able to assist not only with the Guardians Fund but also with estates. But I'll speak about Guardians Fund. Now it's easy because as per the Department of Justice, we must be seen to be acting in the interest of people. We bring services closer to the people. So what we would normally do is, if you are in Limpopo, for instance, or Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Mafikeng, we would say go to the master's office or to the nearest magistrate court.
Yeah.
In Guardians Fund, we deal with applications. We pay you once you lodge an application. You can imagine, we can't say that you will come in and say that I'm so-and-so, and then we pay you the money. Because bear in mind that the Guardians Fund, we are audited by both internal Department of Justice and by the Auditor General.
Yeah.
So, in other words, monies of people, monies of children that are in the Guardians Fund are safe.
So, am I right to say, in a layman's language, even the wills, you are dealing with wills, you are dealing lifa, you are dealing with inheritance, you are dealing with processing and administering of such?
Yes, we do.
All right. Now you heard it. It's 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. Are you having a will dispute? You don't know the procedures? And we are not here to advise you on punitive measures to go out there uyoqinezela abanye abantu bomdeni wakho. We're not talking about that, Ntate Lali. Just correct me. I'm not a law expert. I'm not an advocate. I'm just a journalist on this one.
In this instance, we are talking about strictly the Guardians Fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Guardians Fund. As people might not know, the Guardians Fund, it administers funds, as I have stated, and there's lots of money that is there. That is
what kind of monies do you administer?
Pension, GPF.
Yep.
Money is coming to the Guardians Fund in a will, where, will, GPF, and also there are maybe, if an executor has been appointed and they say that so-and-so must inherit, even inheritances, they come to us.
All right.
So with regards to inheritance, when a person or a child is 18 years of age, they will come to us and lodge an application. But what is important with the Guardians Fund is that we must note that we pay, there is a section 90 of the Administration of Estate Act 66 of 1965.
Yes.
What we do, Section 90 says to us that we must pay to the person. When you lodge an application, we can pay for medical, schooling, clothing, or any other item, provided there are funds. Bear in mind that the funds that we administer, they also accrue interest. Currently, our interest rate is 8.5%.
That's right.
Without any administration costs. Normally, a person will come to us and say that, no, I want to invest my funds with maybe X. We would normally say that go to that X and ask him what are the administration costs. Because normally, even if the interest might be high, but you will be paying administration costs. But with us, you are not paying anything.
All right. That's the voice here, Ntate Vuyani Lali. He is an advocate. He is a deputy master. He is with the Cape Town office, and he is here to share information with us in terms of all those that he just alluded to just now. And that includes monies, basically, that are due to you in one aspect or the other, which is either a will, a pension, what else could it be there? I think maybe...
there are monies, for instance, if a company has been liquidated, monies for creditors.
You've been retrenched and then all of a sudden...
They pay monies into the gardens fund.
Yes.
Yeah, there are those types of monies also.
Now, how do you work with the UIF? How do you work with other people who actually pay money, the labor compensation fund and all those kind of people? Because there's a legal aspect to that I'm feeling in the back of my mind. But you seem to be the people who are actually administering and authorizing those kind of things.
Not necessarily with the UIF.
Okay.
Yeah, bear in mind that monies, most of the time, they will derive them, they will come from an estate. Or if a person has been liquidated, or if there is a matter regarding curatorship.
Yes.
For instance, a person has been knocked down by a motor vehicle. Those monies also sometimes, depending what the court will say, it will come to the Gardens Fund.
I hope the Mami is listening, the one who actually during our GBV program actually is listening, and it is her time, and I would really wish that we start with her today, but unfortunately she has to call first. It's 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446, and I'm going to take Patco. Patco is from Bloemfontein. He's from Aliwal North. It's just that Patco is talking Sesotho African. See, Yonki Intonje is just a South African. Patco. Hey, ke nna o ke a phela morena le kae? Hantla holo. And Tatelali, as he told you, he's either on East Coast or English. But yeah, must take East Coast at that. All right.
Enkosi kakhulu ndiyabulisa nami bhuti.
Ndilathi Aliwal North mna eTakalani Community Radio apha kuphondo leMakoloni. Umbuzo wami oqala ngifuna uqonda ukuba ingaba ke ngoku niyakwazi ukuthi niye ebantwini ibafundise malunga nale miba le enithetha ngayo ngale mina namhlanje ye-Guardian Fund. Umbuzo wami oqala lo. Umbuzo wami esibini, kukho abantu ufumana ukuthi utata nomama bayasweleka. Abantwana befakiwe ku-pension fund nakwi-Guardian Fund abanalwazi. And then ngelixa bengenalwazi, ingaba i-Master of the High Court iyakwazi ukuthi ngoku iye kwabantwana ibachazele ukuba utata wenu nomama wenu banitshele oku, and then ezinto ezi ziphantsi kwamagama enu. Ingaba ke ngoku niyakwazi ukuthi niyenze loo nto leyo. And then umbuzo wami wokugqibela ndifuna uqonda ukuba ngaba ke ngoku kukho lo mntu okhethiweyo ukuba ibe nguye ojonga abantwana, ekubeni ukuba yena izawuthi ibe nguye osimane ethathela abantwana imali yesikolo, eyempahla, eyokutya, eyetransport. Ibakazenze ezo zinto ezo, ngawaphi amanyathelo eniwathathayo nina ezi-Master of High Court? Ndiyabulela kakhulu ndizamamela kuTakalani Community Radio.
Thank you so much, Patco. He's listening from Aliwal North in Free State, hey, Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, that
Yes.
is where I'm from. By the
All
way.
right. Thank you so very much.
Okay, ndiyabulela bhuti.
Let's take one more before you get to respond to that. Usbonelo is calling from Ndwedwe in KZN. Sbonelo? Hi, Sbo. Malume Ace? Okay. Sibo? Sawubona buti, kunjani? All right, just come closer to your telephone receiver so that we can hear you very well, my leader.
Okay, sir.
Nakog. Yes.
Ya ngithi mina ngomutholweni lumnandi kakhulu solweni bakuthi manje nithi lolu solweni liyafana mhlambe ne-insurance mhlambe.
Come closer a little bit, and Ace will also be able to help us with some volume, because I want Ntate Lali to hear you quite very well, my leader.
Ya ngithi liyafana nosolweni ne-insurance mhlambe.
Iyafana nokusebenza ne-insurance. Well, okay, is that the first one?
Ya ngithi kodwa ngiyabonga kusolweni ukuthi sikhanyiseleke kahle.
Yeah.
Sibe nolwazi ngezinto ezenzeka la eSouth Africa. Imlalela kathi ku-FM bafowethu.
Siyabonga impela. Thank you so much. Those are the two, Ntate Lali.
Mandiqale ngombuzo lo wokugqibela.
Please.
With regard, ngizawuthetha nge-English nesiXhosa so that abantu bazokwazi.
Speak South African, my leader.
Okay.
Speak South African.
With regards to the insurance part of it, we are not an insurance. Yeah. Hence, I said we don't charge anything. We only give, when monies come from an estate, there is interest in respect of minor children or people who are incapable, as people who have been involved in a car accident, curatorship. We do give interest on
But
it.
are you doing the same services as insurance, maybe?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
What
We
is
don't.
really?
Yeah. The real part of it is that when a person comes to us, maybe let me go to a question that came in.
Yes.
The first point was, siyayana ebantwini sizoxela ba kukho ezimali. I think that will refer to outreach, because what we are doing, but not all offices, I wouldn't be sure if all offices are doing it, but with regards to the Cape Town office, we do have an outreach committee where we go out to radio station, to churches. We're invited as even in funeral, or what you call societies, where we will tell people about the Master's Office and the Guardians Fund in particular. So in terms, we have identified that was what was lacking before, that most of our people are not aware as to what is happening with regards to their monies when they're in the Guardians Fund. Hence, it's our duty that we go and explain to them. Because what the danger, if we don't go out to explain to them, there are tracing agents that would normally go to people and say that we have been referred by the Guardians Fund.
Yes.
I just wanted to highlight that the Guardians Fund doesn't have any tracing agents. We never send out people to go and look for people, because what happens with tracing agents, they charge. With us, our services are free of charge. We don't charge anything.
All right.
Maybe with regards to the second question, how do we make people aware of these funds in the Guardians Fund? Unfortunately or fortunately, because every September, even now, if people can go to each and every magistrate court, we will publicize all monies that are unclaimed.
Where do you publicize?
In the government gazette. Hence I said, fortunately and unfortunately.
Yes.
You yourself, me and you seated here, it's very rare that we would go and look at the government gazette.
Yeah.
So hence we have been saying that, but I'm sure eventually the department will follow our advice, in the sense we are saying that it would be better, people will able to have more access if this September, in terms of the Act, bear in mind we publish in terms of the Act every September, that if monies are published in each and every community newspaper or even in newspaper, because you yourself know that it's easier to get a newspaper, for instance, Sokala Duma, Sowetan, and any other paper. It would be easy for people to get hold of those papers and see what is happening.
All right.
With regards to the third question,
the third question was more of talking to the families. Talking to families about this. Where do you come in? I know you mentioned now earlier that you go to societies, but some people don't have these things. Or, like, for instance, Kohai, we like about 70 cousins, so we don't need a society. And we're not So talking to families, as in like individual families, and all that. And if you come a bit closer so that people are able to hear you very well, you can pull it to yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with regards to the question, it would be that bear in mind that when monies are with us, for instance, let me make an example with GPF. GPF will send you a letter, and also they send the master's office a letter saying that you have monies in the guardians fund.
That's right.
Now, in order for us to determine if you are really, really looking after the child, what we would do, we would want you to go to a social worker, because bear in mind that we don't have the necessary capacity as the master's office to go go and check the status of a person if this person is indeed looking after the child. Then the social worker's report normally tells us the circumstances of this child.
For a moment, I was getting worried that, are you just a conveyor belt? You don't ask questions, money just move and all that stuff. I was going to say, how do you guarantee that you're paying the right person? And then the next person comes, say maybe we 5 siblings ekai. And the first one comes, it's like, and then here comes the last born and the third and the fourth born and all that stuff, and say, but how do you as the master's office, the guardians fund, get to pay this guy and not consider the others? So what's the administering process of that?
Okay, the administering process would be, as I had indicated with GPF, or even, for instance, with an estate in a liquidation and distribution account. Yes. Normally, it will tell you who is supposed to get what. With GPF, they will tell you that Vuyani Lali is the one who's, for instance, the letter will be directed to me, and I'll be the one who will be looking after my brother's child or whatsoever. But it doesn't stop there, because what we do in order to make sure that we are paying the relevant, the correct person, there are processes that come in. We've got what we call now Move It. I'm not sure if you have noticed with the banks. If you go to the bank, you
put your fingerprint,
and then voila, your information will come out. With us, I normally proudly say that as the master's office, we started that. But on our terms, in our way, we call it a Move It, master's own verification system, which is linked to harness at Home Affairs. So now, in order for us to know that indeed you are this person, we verify you.
There is a system
that is verified.
Tata my chance.
And also on the administrative part of it, we also have, you must bring us the birth certificate of these children. If you don't have a birth certificate, surely you can't say that you don't have a birth certificate of a child, which is 99% of the time not correct. Because as we are aware, once a child is born now,
it is a must to register
that child.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it's in 2 phases. This child is maybe 2 up until at the age of 18. Now the child no longer applies. The guardian is no longer the one who's responsible to apply for the funds. It will be the child, him or herself, who comes to our office, verification, birth certificate, death certificate, and complete our application form. We've got 2 types of forms that are completed. It's a J341 for allowances and a J251 for inheritance. J341 for allowances, for applying for clothing, school fees. Maybe what is important, with school fees, we don't pay you as the parent. We pay directly to the school. The school must furnish us with the banking details, a letter confirming that indeed this child is at this school.
All right.
So that one is J341 allowances, and then the J251 is when you are 18, you apply on your own.
All right. And let's take callers, because I wanted to do a follow-up questions but I think it will come later on, because we have 2 callers. Anonymous, you calling from anonymity?
Yes, I'm still here.
How are you, Anoni?
I'm fine, sir.
Talk to us, my lady.
Yes, my sister passed away, and she left some money for her 4 children. And among the 4 children, there's a girl who's got 3 children. The girl followed the mother and passed away. Now the children, because the 3 boys can't look after the boys, it's only the bigger boy who was left with the uncles. The 2 smaller ones are with my other sister. My other sister is struggling to get papers and support for the children. And the father of the little child, who is about 3 years, is a social worker somewhere. And the other one is a business person somewhere. So we don't know how to go about this thing. And what I hear from the rumors that I hear is the uncle is sitting on the birth certificate, especially of the smaller child. And my sister is struggling because the smaller child is of age to go to kindergarten, to crash. Yeah. And she's struggling because she's not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to ask before we release Anonymous?
Okay. Maybe, ma'am, can you just tell us where is this office? Where do you stay, in fact?
Our office will be in Pretoria, I think.
Pretoria. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe what you need to do.
Shall we release her to listen on radio?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Anonymous?
Yeah. Okay. So,
is that all that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think for now that is all.
For now, yeah, you can still call back if you need to make any follow-ups. Thank you so much for your call.
The birth certificate and the non-support of the children.
All right, listen to your radio, and then Tatelali is going to respond to that. All right. Before you respond, because I want to manage the calls that are coming in, Tatelali. Unati is calling from Cape Town. I hope you grabbed Anonymous's question. And then Unati is calling from Cape Town.
Hello.
Hey, kunjani tat?
I'm fine, thanks, and you?
Kiyaphila ek?
Oh, ngifuna ukubuza nje first ndiyandibulele nge-information leyazi ngayo because ziyabulele ndiyavuya into ezilose unobuzana le mali xa like if ever you have imali ehleli kule lanto fund you don't know about like maybe for years ngifuna ukubuza iyahlala nje ayibina interest la xa uyifumana like uyifumane imba kule mali njengoba uyifumana elekosa thile ayibina interest bese ihleli nje pha iyahlala nje pha lefuza la ke into ba imali xa une-dispute with i-road accident fund la kukho lo mali nilwa ngayo mhlawumbi bafuna imali ethile ayinokwazi la nto uye pha emasakot bakulungisele le nto yemali one-dispute ngayo ne-road accident fund.
Is that all, Budnat?
That's all.
Enkosi Tat. Thank you. And then let's go to Tobeka in KZN. Tobeka? Hello, Toby. Going once. Sobona Tobek. Going twice. Molo Tobek. Third. Huyanan Tobek. Okay. Sifake bonde. Babula.
Let me start ngale mbuzo wokugqibela. Lo wase Cape Town. Umbuzo is le mali ihlala ixesha elingakanani ngaba iyayifumana na interest. I-answer is imali ese guardians fund. It stays with us for a period of 30. If it's not claimed over a period of 30 years, it goes to
30.
Yes. Unclaimed. It goes to the receiver of revenue. Interest, maybe manicacise, if by imali ikuthi for umntana inga-accruisha interest until the age of 23. That is 18 plus 5 years.
That's
which
right.
make it the age of 23.
Yes.
Angayiclaima, it accrues the interest. Bagayiclaimanga. But once uyiclaim at the age of 20 in an interest, what you claim at the age of 23 in an interest. But if by imali ngoyomntu, for instance, imali ye-curatorship, ngumntu ongakwazi uzenzelana, ihlala i-interest forever until such time umntu asweleke.
Yes.
Yeah. And also with regards to interest, as I said, asiyiniki imali yonke for that period yena 30 years. It doesn't mean that it will accrue interest for the 30-year period. No,
That's right.
there is a period that stops for the interest. For instance, coming to a road accident fund. A road accident fund, it's very difficult to say that siyasebenzisana, in the sense that they will always pay monies with us.
Yes.
But we will only accept law mali if there's an order of court. It's not a free for all. Apho uzothi hayi ndifuna ukufaka imali for investment purposes. No, there must be an order of court from a road accident fund saying that as mali must hlale in the guidance fund.
That's right.
Especially when there's a child, or even when it's an older person, because that person will be falling under a curatorship.
All right.
So we do work hand in hand with the road accident fund.
All right.
With regards to umbuzo wokuqala kamama, why I asked, it was correct that I must ask where is the mother situated, because lapha Pretoria, because normally abantu bethu, they don't want to go to the offices and inquire, inquiring if they are not happy to ask for a senior person. So with regards to utata lo ungafuniyo ne birth certificate zabantwana, abantwana bayasokola.
Yes.
Children are destitute and they need money. So what I would suggest is umama must first approach a social worker. A social worker is the one that can assist with regards to bringing this to our attention as to 1, 2, 3. These are the things that are happening. And also, I'm not sure because uthethe nango tata support, because I think it's a two-pronged question.
Yes,
now.
it is.
Because with regards to support, it's another matter altogether. It falls under a maintenance court. I'm not sure whether umama, if it's indeed a support matter, wayeyile a maintenance court to lodge in. With regards to birth certificates, yes, it will be difficult. But what I just want to find out, it's just a pity that we couldn't communicate, because the question that I was going to ask, where does the money come from? For instance, if it's from GPF will have all the necessary documents, because when you pass on, you are a government employees, your personal file from HR, they will send all that necessary information to GPF.
Yes.
In that way, we will be able to access that information from GPF.
All right. I hope, Anonymous, you're listening, and if there's any other further queries that you have, you're welcome to call us on 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. And if you have just got into the house, welcome to this special program. Na ikamalam, it's Mosoto, surname is Stone, and I am with Advocate Vuyani Lali, who is a deputy master, the master of the High Court. Yes.
Maybe with Anonymous, what I can do, I can leave my numbers.
Yes.
So that she can phone me, so that I can direct her to the relevant people at the Pretoria Master's office.
And you know, the good thing, Babulali, is that Malume Lennox is taking numbers. And definitely we have Anonymous number, and then we can do a follow-up. Malume Victor has got that follow-up as well. So we have all systems in place. I like that part where you say you have that 4IR component where you are able to just put your fingerprint and everything comes up. So it's almost like that in broadcasting.
Okay.
All right.
You.
Okay. You're done with the responses. Let's get on to Tobeka. You are back.
Yes,
People not Tobek. Welcome.
I'm calling from Durban.
You're calling from Durban. Can you find a very nicer space where you are able to be more audible? Because in networking, that is Australia. Try to climb on the bed. And maybe, or maybe at the balcony or something.
No.
There you go. Just stand right there. Whether you're on top of a tin, it's fine. Just talk.
Okay. My question is this. The event that a government employee has passed on, right? And this person has left the property yet that they built themselves. However, the property is not in a It's like, in those rural areas where the person bought a site and they built their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so therefore now, those title deeds, we bought the land from a chief and things like that, so the title deeds aren't out. And the person has no dependents, only grandchildren, because her dependents had also passed on.
Yes.
Now, there's obviously disputes over the property, and I wasn't aware of something called the guidance fund. Obviously, she was a government employee. Then what does one do? Because I'm basically like half related to these people. I'm not related, but these are children. They're all under 18. I think one 18 this year. And there's a lot of disputes in the family trying to fight for this property. It's a very nice house, which she never got to reside in. But now how to protect these 8 grandchildren from losing this, because there was no will. She just passed on. And even like policies and things like that, it's still a living dispute. And we don't know as a family what to do and what I can do for the children, because one by one they are losing their possessions. And people are taking charge of things that belong to the children.
Oh, man.
So what I do, like, okay, what can be done for the children? Maybe if I can take, because even I can't go get grants for them, I like the children are basically destitute.
Yeah.
So I wish, like, how can the courts help the children, maybe protect these assets? And because I'm sure if I go there, she was a government employee, so maybe her file will be there. Maybe maybe a state of her possessions, where she had other like investments in other things that they can't be claimed because the kids are under 18. So just for the children, not for anyone to tamper, how can you protect those assets from like other hand, sticky fingers?
All right. Is that all, Toby?
Yeah, that's all.
All right. You'll listen to your radio for your answer, right?
Okay,
Thank you so very much. All right, we're moving on to Mount Elif. Anna, Kosnati, I was so happy that we're going to Mike Lunika's space. He's the one, courtesy of Media Connection. Mike Lunika, thank you so very much for getting this broadcast out to the people. He used to be a former station manager for Alfred Nzo Community Radio. Okay. Because he's not yet there. Is he there?
Yes.
Ngosnat.
Kunjani mhlekazi wami?
Siyaphila kunjani tata wami?
Inkosi sihamba nathi mhlekazi.
Nice. Welcome.
Yes, you're speaking to Nkosi Nathi Nyokana as I have already said before.
Yes.
Mhlekazi, apha nithetha ngomcimbi we-Guardian Fund.
Yes.
So ndiyarhalela ukuqonda mhlekazi wami apho ku-Deputy Master of the High Court uMr Lali. Ndiyabulisa mhlekazi.
Manibulise nam NN.
Yes mhlekazi wami. Ndiyarhalela ukuqonda mhlekazi. Xa umntwana over 21 years uyakwazi into yoba mhlawumbe abe kanti usekuyo i-Guardian Fund le. And omnye umbuzo mhlekazi wami, ikhona le nto yoba umntwana ke afunde phaa ezifees mhlawumbi nasezikholejini ne. So njengefunda phaa liyafike elaa xesha loba efundile phaa liphele. Ukuphela kwalo ingaba mhlekazi kulaa mali elibekiwe phaa iba khona mhlawumbe ithi isiyeke mhlawumbe njengoba beyibekelwe imali ngabazali bakhe mhlawumbe kwi-pension fund, njengoba kuba ngaba iba khona itshintshi iyokwenziweni ngalaa mali mhlawumbe siyekileyo kuba ngaba mhlawumbe iba khona.
Okay. Is that all, NN?
Yes, injalo mhlekazi wami.
All right. Hayi njalo, siyabulela ku Alfred Nzo and you for contributing to this program, Malida. All right.
Okay, manqale ngo NN unkubhuni Nkosi Nathi Nyokana. With regards to 21 years old, kuya dependa. If for instance imali ifike kuthi umntana ena 15, then iyakwazi uhlala. Mandilungise nale. Imali ekhoyo e-Guardians Fund, abantu kukho i-misconception that government is giving money. This money is from government.
Yes.
No, it's a money that your father and mother worked for. For instance, if
it's an inheritance.
Inheritance, yeah.
Okay.
So if, for instance, umntana uyifumene imali at the age of 15, if by imali isekhona ade ebe na 18, because at 18 you must bear in mind that he or she is a major.
Yes.
Uyakwazi uzi-applyela la mali. Let's say angayi-applyeli ihlale ade ebe na 21. Ikhona i-interest right up until 21 until azoyiclaima la mali. I-interest will only stop when at 23 years old. So ilento benisithi kuqala, it's 18 plus 5, that gives you 23 years.
Yes.
That gives you interest up until then. Okay. Eyesibini, umntana xa se-university, if umntana unemali uyakwazi uaplya e-ofisini yethu. Xa usengumntana uya-aplayelwa ngulo mntu uhlala naye, ngumzali, ngumakazi, ngudabawo, uza ku-aplayela. But once umntana ebe na 18 okanye and over, ba isekhona imali, uyaza azoyi-aplya because imali yakhe at the end of the day. So azoyi-aplayela. As babe nditshilo ke, iform esiyisebenzisayo apho umntana xa na 18 yi-J251. Funeka abe ne-ID, simverifye, abe ne-bank account, then siyakwazi umbhatala imali yakhe. Yeah. Coming back to usisi from KZN.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe questions that I could have posed to Sis Tobeka was the estate reported? Because if the estate is reported, then hence you will find that it's a free for all with regards to the estate.
Okay.
Hence, it is always important that whenever there's somebody who has passed on, the estate must be reported. So the question is, if I heard it correctly, the deceased didn't have children. I'm not sure whether the deceased have...
No, in fact, let me put it clearly. The deceased had children.
Not grandchildren.
Hold on.
Okay.
The deceased had children, but the children passed on. Now, here's the grandchildren. So there is a vacuum in a generation between the lady who was working for government, abantwana basweleka, and then kusale izugulane.
Okay. With regards to that, abantwana bakamfi, the deceased one, if they are children, I would assume those children were adults.
They were.
So imali adults would never go to a guardians fund. Normally it would have happened that, but it was paid to the children whilst they were still alive. Or secondly, let us assume that the children were adults and the monies were paid and they died before they could access those funds.
Yes.
Then in terms of the law, it would mean therefore the children of these grandchildren of the will be the ones...
The grandchildren.
The grandchildren.
Yes.
Because bear in mind that in terms of succession, if, for instance, the deceased, there was a husband, if the deceased didn't have a husband, maybe the husband has passed on, and then she had children, and the children have passed on, then if there were parents, she had parents, then the estate would go up to the parents. But in this instance, I would assume that there are no parents, she was the only one, and there were children, her children, who left her grandchildren. So in other words, the estates now of her children must be reported. If there are those funds, for instance, those funds will go to those grandchildren. But with regards to if there was no nomination, maybe it's very important as government employees, I'll talk about government employees because I believe she was a government employee.
Yes, she was.
Normally in our offices on a yearly basis, I'm not sure whether it's 6 months basis, HR will give us a nomination form. That nomination form tells you that complete the people that you would want to, in the event you pass on, who will inherit from you. So let us assume that Umama didn't complete that form. Then it means that estate will go interstate.
To the revenue.
No. It doesn't go to the revenue.
Okay.
It will have to be reported now because even if GPF pays, they would want us to open an estate late account. An estate late account could only be opened now once a person has been appointed. In this event, since they are minor children, in this event, if they are minor children, we always say that there must be somebody who will be able to look at the best interest of the children.
Yes.
Normally an attorney. We would say that an agent needs to be appointed in a form of an attorney. Or if there's a trust company, they must be appointed. In that way, they are able, minor children cannot speak for themselves.
Of course.
So hence we as the court are there to look after them, their interest. So now when an executor is appointed, it's the executor's duty to find those children and have those monies deposited into the guardians fund. So the other question that I would want, maybe what I would like to say to Usisi, she must go to the Master of the High Court in Pietermaritzburg.
Or in Pietermaritzburg.
Yeah, because we don't have a guardians fund in Durban. We've got one in PMB.
That's right.
If she can go there with the deceased ID, or in the event with those her children. I'm not sure how old were they when
Unfortunately, she was saying she's a bit of a distant relative, but she's just calling on behalf, asking for a friend.
But for the benefit of the children,
Yes.
because if I heard her correctly, she said that they were destitute. For the benefit of the children, she can do that. She can go and inquire.
Is it allowed?
Not necessary, because not really it's allowed. Because bear in mind, it would mean that everyone can go to the guardians fund and say that it's not.
The representulali, and then that said Musutu Stone,
Yeah.
and then I start a process on your behalf.
Yeah. Now, hence I said it's always better if a social worker is approached, because I think social workers are the first people on call whenever there are matters of this nature.
Yes.
If they can go to a social worker will give them. Social worker can always inquire on their behalf.
Okay.
Then we would say we won't say that the amount is this much. We will say yes, there is money, and these are the following that needs to be done in order for you to access this money. For instance, with the property, hence it is important. I so hope that Sisi, next week it's a wills week. I hope that it shows the importance of a will, having a will. Because had Umama had a will, she would have put each and everything in the will to say that this is ABC, it must go to Vuyani, it must go to whoever. You see?
All right.
So yeah.
I'm trying to avoid as much as possible questions about wills, because that is what we will be talking about next week.
Yeah.
But however, one burning question is that Musutu Stone NJ and his will is saying, Ngalwa no mama wa bantwana bam. Now I don't have access. I don't have, I'm issues, human issues that come into the picture, right? Before we take these calls, because Ace needs to be there, and I now change the 6-month period that you always have to update working for government. Musutu Stone now says, I got a new partner, I make a new family, labaya, ang sabafuna bangfuni nam. You see? And now I take them off the will, but through an abridged certificate, they will always belong through Home Affairs and all that stuff. But mina, willing, copy. You see? Now, are you able to override a will in the interest of the kids?
Not really. But bear in mind that irrespective, even if you don't have me in your will,
Yes.
but I'm your child, I'm a minor, it doesn't change the fact that you are my father or you are my mother.
Yes.
So I am going to benefit.
But I said, Labea, abatoli lutogum. I clearly put it there in my will, saying, this one and this one, I acknowledge that they are my kids, but mina, Bate and Bafun, and I haven't seen them probably since they were 2 years, and now it's 30 years down the line. What happens? Are you able to override? I'm asking that again. Are you able to override in the interest of the kids?
Kids in the sense of minors or kids in the sense of
Kids
adults?
as in like they are yours, whether they minors or older or whatever, they are your beneficiaries by blood.
No. We cannot override the wishes of a testator. Bear in mind that the will is what you want to see happening. Because now you are deceased, you cannot speak. So the will speaks for you. So we can't override what the testator, if it's a man, or testatrix, if it's a woman. We can't override that.
So they'll have to go and find some lawyer and say, contest.
What they can do, but that one is a topic now for Mr. Josana.
Yes,
They can do, but
Next
they
week.
can lodge a claim against the estate of the person, of the father.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they lose totally, because they can lodge a claim against the estate.
Advocate, let's take some callers. Lucy, you are listening to Akhanang FM. Go Potchef's room. Everything else. Talk to us.
Okay. He an authorized person here, an orphan. And then in 2016, Jana 18, he mo apply. But I didn't go myself. The tracing, what is tracing agent? They came.
Oh, yeah, the agent.
Yeah, then we applied. But it was not successful. And then the Master of High Court, apply personal. And then we went to Master of High Court. It was 2017. And then on the 27th August, I don't know whether it's 27, but it was in August 2017. They said everything is complete. We waited until this year. And this year, I get an SMS from a certain attorneys, PG attorneys. More, what is it? Next door to Master of High Court. I mean, next door to GPF.
Okay.
Earlier, we don't have tracing agents. Because once you involve a tracing agent, they will take money from you. Bear in mind that they are using their services. They are tracing. But in this instance, there was nothing to trace because the child is there.
Would you say they would have exhausted the funds? Because Lucy is saying since this guy was 16, now he's 21. That's 5 years.
No,
would you say they would have exhausted their funds?
It depends on how they were applying. Because bear in mind that for each and every application, we keep a record of what we pay.
Okay.
So it would be better for Sisi, Umamulusi, but even if Umamulusi can come to the office, if the beneficiary who's 18 is not there, we're not going to divulge any information. Bear in mind that is confidential. Okay. Bear in mind that is confidential information that we keep in respect of clients in the guidance fund. If the 18-year-old comes to the master's office, I wouldn't be sure why it would take so long. Unless there were procedures, maybe the application form is wrong or the ID. There are lots of things that could have come into being.
Yes.
But hence I said, let me apologize, because we should have informed them as to these are the outstanding requirements or matters that are needed in order for us to deal with the claim.
All right.
But I would maybe... Definitely, you do have the numbers for Ruma Mulusi so that we can follow up the matter.
Yes. In fact, Lucy, I was going to say that we do have your numbers, and then Advocate Lali is going to give a number where you definitely are not going to call the whole day and not get anybody. That's a definite one, because I believe that the injustice that we could be doing to you now is speak about this thing in less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you so very much, Manesu.
Okay.
All right. Advocate, I think we're running out of time. Let's just quickly go on to Sylvia from Maike. Oh, Sylvie.
Hello.
Oh, Sylvia.
Lekai?
Retenleka, tima radio, ya go dia. Ya go dia ngwana go gae ya go dia e re tla ka pele metsotso e mebedi.
Okay.
ke ne ke batla go botsa ka pension fund ya malomaka o sala tlhokofetse ka 1992.
1990?
92.
Okay.
And then gwa batliwa dipampiri kaofela mamaka a ditlatsa kaofela dilo tseo le di-banking details tsa gae kaofela, and then ha e sale go feletse mo ga re so ka re thola next gore you don't even know gore go etsagetseng ka tšhelete re kile ra retsa follow up ya nna o ka re patetse but ha re tse re tšhelete e patetse go mang, so ne ke batla go itse gore what is like ke ntho re ka kgona gore re etse gore kgona go thola tšhelete e ile kae.
All right.
Re kgone go e thola.
Okay.
Ke
lebogile thata o Sylvie, re tla go araba gona nyana sekgala kere
kae mo radio
mma.
Okay, ke a leboga.
Ke leka gore ke tseo mongwe gapa kere.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. The last one for the night is Anonymous.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Anoni?
Okay, I just want to find out about the surplus money. Are you familiar with it?
Is that all that you need to ask? Does advocate has to respond now?
Okay, it's the surplus money. I just want to find out if you're familiar with it, and how, if yes, how many draws do you get and where do you go for it, please?
All right.
Okay.
I'll listen on the radio.
Okay, thank you so very much. Before you go, Anoni.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe can you just explain further, elaborate on the surplus? What do you mean by surplus money?
You see, you work in an engineering company, and then I think there's some money, but they call it a surplus money.
Is that money in the Guardians Fund?
I don't know in what fund it is. That's what I want to find out.
Okay. No, it wouldn't take you, there wouldn't be any problem, ma'am, if the person who's got money, but that surplus that you're talking about, if they can inquire from the Guardians Fund. Because if you come in with your ID and inquire if there are monies that belong to that person, then we could check if there is money.
So where do I come in?
I'm not sure. Where are you situated?
I'm situated in Johannesburg, in Lens.
Okay, Johannesburg. Unfortunately, we don't have a Guardians Fund, but it doesn't stop you from going to the master's office in Johannesburg so that they can inquire from the master's office in Pretoria if there are funds for that particular person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
Thank
long
you
as
so
you
much.
bring your ID along with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Anonymous. And let's get on to responding. Lucy to Sylvia. Yes, to Sylvia. I think that would be our last response because we've run out of time. The uncle's pension. Nothing has happened. Money is not traceable. They tried to apply, and they have no clue where the money is, but they know that he used to work, and basically is the uncle, which means he is the brother to Ausi, who is the mother to Sylvia.
Okay.
So how does that get to be resolved?
Yeah, it's just a pity that we don't know where the uncle worked. Because if it was GPF, it could be a two-pronged approach where she could go to GPF and inquire about these monies. But in the event it's not GPF, if it was monies from an estate, for instance, she could go to our office. Or if it's
a private sector, maybe?
Private sector, it's hard. It's
Very
very
hard.
rare that they would deposit money, because bear in mind that they do have their trust also.
Yes,
For
yes.
instance, Alexander Forbes will have their
That's
trust.
right,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So we are not linked to at all.
Any of the private
No,
entities?
not at all, not at
okay,
all,
that's very clear. That's very clear. Advocate, before I close this, any highlight, something you might want to share with the public before we close this?
Yeah, the highlight that I would like to share with the public, as I had said earlier, this month there will be publication of unclaimed monies. But unfortunately, they are published in the government gazette, but a person can go to any magistrate court because there will be a list of those monies. Or if you are near Pretoria, Cape Town, you can go to the master's office. We can check. We are not saying that there are funds. Luckily, you might have funds.
What do you need to check these things?
Your ID.
That's all.
If you have an ID or a letter stating
76
that,
1128 blah, 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 blah,
yeah, as long
089.
as it is you. Bear in mind, if these are your monies, we verify you. Unfortunately, the verification doesn't lie, because if it's Vuyani Lali, it can't be
Vuyani Loli.
Loli. It must be
cannot
Vuyani Lali. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Advocate, thank you so very much for this invaluable information. And I hope we do this more, Victor, because I think this is one of the topics that we will need to repeat, just for our people to actually be a bit more accustomed
Yeah.
to this kind of information. And I would really like to profusely apologize to Khibani from Mpumalanga, Aus Joanna from West Coast, Roderick from Uppington, Pretif from Ladysmith, as well as Hlomisa, Aus Lydia, our regular caller from Mabatu. And it's just that it's a pity that we only have an hour, but I hope it was an hour worth of information. Thank you so very much, Advocate.